Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are doing amazing and you're having an awesome weekend. I know we did have an awesome weekend. We went hiking once again and we saw the most beautiful lake in the mountains. It was amazing. It was just so stunning, and we've been meaning to go to that place for a while now, and we were finally able to catch like a bus, like a mini bus there, as it's kind of like a little bit too far to walk from our house, so that was really nice. Anyways, I think I want to show you guys my kitten. So I'll show you the little beautiful kitty cat. She doesn't want to look this way because she doesn't want to stay here because her mommy right next to us just caught a rat. And she's trying to eat her right now, and it's disgusting, man. Like, and it's funny because I used to have like pet rats, as a child, because I really admire and respect rats because they're really smart, and yeah. So, but unfortunately, one is being eaten right next to me right now. Okay, it's really disgusting, but it's I suppose it's natural, right? It's like that's what cats do. They hunt and they catch prey, and that's it. That's how they, I would say, survive, right? But of course, I feed my cats, so you guys don't worry about that. I don't know, maybe she just wants something a little bit extra. I don't know, she likes to hunt. A couple of our cats actually like to hunt, so as my kitty cat munches on a poor rat whose head is missing right now. Ugh, God. I wish I didn't look into that direction right now. Um, anyway, so yeah. Let's talk about. Oh my God. Let's talk about the price, okay, of living artificial lives, okay? Um, so there are many, many different things that take away from basically having this very, very human experience, right? As we are all human and we're natural, we're organic, right? So anything that's unnatural, anything that's inorganic, it has been shown, right? And it's not just a myth, right? But has been shown to have a lot of negative impacts on us, right? And not just in terms of um, let's just say physically, right? But also spiritually. Okay, so there are many different implications to living unnatural lives, right? And I'm going to discuss those, okay? And we're going to discuss things like, technology. Hey, hey, hey. So we're going to discuss things like technology, right? And various drugs, okay? And cars and social media, and how they're impacting our lives and taking us away from this natural way of being, right? And ultimately our peace of mind, and I will discuss how this even relates to our peace of mind, our stability, our inner balance, basically, right? I think the issue today is that a lot of us, we don't have that, we're not balanced, within, right? So not only are we disbalanced in terms of our energy, right, but also we're disbalanced when it comes to our emotions, right? And we're disbalanced in terms of our physicality, right? A lot of people are overweight, right? America is like, I think, number one, right? When it comes to like people being overweight and obese, right? I think they're number one in the world, but don't quote me on that, right? Anyways, but of course, all of those things, right, are interrelated, right? The physical, the spiritual, and the emotional, right? And so we have to take care of all of them, okay, in order to really thrive and in order to find that balance within, right? Life is all about balance, guys, okay? And when it comes to technology nowadays, especially in the West, right? Because I know I lived in the UK, for example, right, for 1 year. And so I noticed how out of touch people were, right? How unbalanced they were. Their relationship with technology is it's out of balance. Okay, most people are on their phones, right? They like pretty much everyone, right? Like I would say, I don't know, 95% of the time I saw people were like in the subway, on the streets, right? People were just like this, right? And on their phone, they didn't look around, right? They didn't wonder anymore. um and this is a big issue, guys, right? Because so basically, it's a big problem because people no longer know how to talk to one another, right? They might be sitting next to one another, right? But when it comes to actually speaking to one another, right, and looking at each other face to face, many people can't even look you in the eyes anymore because they're so socially anxious, right? They're so used to being in their own little cocoon, right, in their own little world, fake world, I would say, right, that they no longer know how to talk to other people. And that's a huge problem, right, because um, as people, I think we do need people, right? But of course, once again, like I made a video on this, right? Um, you have to find your tribe of people. You have to find the right people that are good for your mental health, right? Because of course there's another side, right? If someone, we can't just find people, right? That it doesn't work like that. Your energy has to be compatible to someone else's energy, right? And once you connect with someone, right, you you will, if that person is a good match, if they're in a healthy state, right, then you guys will have a great relationship with that will be supportive, and this will in turn support your mental health. It will teach you how to speak to others and so on, right? So we need this in our lives. We do need this in our lives. The artificial is not doing us any good. Okay, so guys, there are a lot of, for example, negative impacts of social media, right? And these impacts are like anxiety and depression, right? Irregular sleep, right? Cyberbullying, right? That comes with it. FOMO, or fear of missing out, right? And negative self-image, because we always think that we compare our own lives to other people's lives, right? And we think everyone else is doing much better than us, or everyone else is looking much better than us, right? And so by comparing, right, comparison is the thief of all joy. And that is the truth, okay, guys? Never compare, because it really does steal your joy, okay? And you're always thinking that you're always in this lack mentality, by comparing your life to other people's lives, right? You always feel like you don't have enough. You feel like everyone else is doing better than you, and you feel terrible about your own life, right? But in reality, most of us are in our own stages of life, right? We've all been through different things. We've had different experiences. Perhaps certain people started out on a better note in life. Maybe you guys had good families, right? So it was easier to naturally do better, even, right? And in comparison to someone else who maybe had a really crappy family, right, who comes from a family of narcissists or something like that, right? So we've all had different circumstances, right? So never like compare yourself, because it really does steal your joy, and it leaves you in a poverty mindset. Okay. Anyway, so let's get back to technology also, right? By using technology and by relying too much on technology, right, you're essentially telling yourself you're not trusting yourself, okay? Like, for example, right, let's just say navigation, right? Or even you're using your cell phone, right, when you're out and about, right? Even today, right, I've met these two guys today, and my son was there too, right? And they're nice guys, like sweet guys. They were from India, right, but studying in Germany, doing their PhD in medical cardiology or something like that, right? But anyway, so we kind of like we got to we spoke a little bit, right, with them, and we kind of join them, so we went together and we did this hiking, right? So we hiked together, right? Anyway, so we spoke a little bit, right? And I noticed they were always using their phone, they were always using their phones, and they when once they kind of got a little bit of track, they started like completely freaking out, it was kind of like boop boop boop, like malfunction, like, like and I was like, okay, guys, it's okay, I have a very strong intuition, it never lets me down, so anyways, why did I mention this, right? Because they were overly reliant on their phones, right? They were overly reliant on technology. They didn't trust themselves and their own inner compass, right? But instead, they trusted technology, right? Which is ultimately, it's never a good idea, okay? Because it might make us, it might be a convenience for us, right? But ultimately it's making us dumber, okay? It's taking away from our own ability to think, first of all, right? To navigate, to find things, right, for ourselves. And also, of course, it's taking away from us learning how to strengthen that intuition, right? How to become more intuitive, okay? And so by relying on technology too much, right? We, like, once again, we don't trust ourselves. We learn not to trust ourselves. It's taking us farther away from ourselves, okay? And ultimately, what does that do, okay? So that reliance on technology, right? That over reliance on technology, it can lead us off a cliff, right? Because we no longer have good intuitions, right? Which means that if someone was to, for example, lead us off a cliff, right? Or if there's a bad person that doesn't have good intentions, right? And there are plenty of those people around too, right? Just like there are plenty of good people around, right? But basically this person can lead us off the cliff, right? If we don't have a good intuition to fall back on, right? To rely on, right? So this is ultimately, guys, like, that's the issue, right? And so that's just one thing, right? Basically, another, right, is drugs, right? The over reliance on drugs, right? And I don't mean like drugs as in like recreational drugs, right? I'm talking about just regular drugs, like I feel like everyone, especially in America, I'm going to talk about America for the most part, right? Because that's where I grew up, right? In America, most people overly rely on drugs. If someone is feeling bad, if someone is like is in a bad mood, right? Maybe they're just a little bit like down because of maybe they're trapped, or they feel like they're trapped in a situation, right? So I went to like mom forums, right? Sometimes I go to forums just to kind of help myself, maybe I'm experiencing a certain situation, right? And I want to kind of read what other people are experiencing, and this kind of helps me, right? So I noticed like there's so many, it's like in this book 1984, right? Like, oh, you're feeling sad, like, you're okay, you must be depressed. Here, take this drug, right? Like, I don't understand, like, what, how, no, like, okay, we're humans, right? We experience all ranges of emotions, right? So feeling sad doesn't mean that you're necessarily depressed, right? You can even be sad for long periods of time, depending on your circumstance, right? Maybe you really are experiencing a certain situation that you deem to be negative in some way, right? So you will feel sad, right? You're not going to feel good about it, and it doesn't mean that you need drugs, right? Anyways, but in US, everyone relies on drugs, and drugs are taken because of everything, right? For various reasons, like, I don't know, menstrual pain, right? Or cramps, and everything else, right? They take birth control for everything, right? Like, without actually understanding the consequences of those drugs, right? For example, I've just discovered, right, that by taking hormonal pills, right, women actually they can end up picking the wrong partners for them, right? So when they actually do get off those hormonal pills, right, they might actually end up not being attracted to their partners. Okay, so this is like crazy, right? And I just read about it. I was like, wow, so it's things like this, right? But I'm not necessarily even talking about things like this, right? What I'm saying is that drugs naturally interfere or cause problems in other areas or in other parts of our body, right? And so by taking drugs, we're potentially causing harm to other parts of our body, right? We think that we're solving something when in reality we're not. Most of them just cover the symptoms, right? They don't address the root problem. And so especially if that problem is like emotional or mental, right? Which it kind of, well, not always. Sometimes it's physical, right? But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the problem with drugs, right? So once again, drugs are what? They're man-made, right? So that's why I believe in more natural remedies, right? Of course, natural remedies, they don't always work so fast, right? Although some do, right? Some take a little bit more time, and yeah, it really depends, but once again, I think they're a little bit better because it comes from earth, right? It hasn't been tinkered with, right? So yeah, I'm a big believer in like enhancing my health with or supporting my health with natural remedies, not necessarily even vitamins, because vitamins have a lot of adjuvants in them. A lot of them, for example, if you even trust FDA, right? That's the Food and Drug Administration, right? I don't know why these two are together, um, but that's in America, right? I don't personally trust that administration, right? That organization, but yeah, a lot of supplements haven't been approved by that agency, right? And so companies often add a lot of other things into the vitamins, into the supplements that we don't know about, okay? And nobody knows what exactly is in them, okay? So the vitamin that you're supposedly supplementing with, it might be a lot more harmful than you actually think, okay? And so yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about cars now, right? So guys, cars and things like cars and things like shoes, right? The thing is, right, there are so I'm going to talk about grounding, right? And cars, right? Cars and shoes, they actually take away from us, from our ability to ground ourselves, to be grounded, right? It's also, grounding is also known as earthing, right? It involves connecting your body to the natural electric charge of the earth, okay? And guys, that is extremely, extremely important, and grounding offers so many health benefits, okay? And by wearing shoes, most shoes, right? Although there are some very specific shoes that you can buy nowadays, right? That will kind of help you connect to earth, right? And help you ground yourself, right? Or they perhaps won't hinder that ability, right? But anyway, so grounding, right? It offers many health benefits, right? And there are things like improved sleep, right? Reduced inflammation, improved tissue and cell repair, enhanced blood flow, okay? Increased heart rate variability, and improved electrical activity in the brain, okay? So guys, it really does, it really is amazing. And by driving too much, right? By not walking enough, right? By using the wrong shoes, right, all the time, and not going into nature and just taking off your shoes, you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of benefits for your body, right, guys? So I highly suggest that you start grounding from after watching my video, okay? We always do this with my kiddo. We ground every single day. We take off our shoes, and where we live, this can happen. We can do that because it's more like the countryside, I would say, right, than anything else. So it's not a city, and yeah, even in the city, we would have been doing that, to be honest with you. So yeah. Also, what was I going to say? Oh yes, and when my kiddo was like my kiddo hates shoes. He literally hates them. He always, whenever we come to the park, he just honestly, as soon as we get on the street, right, he just wants to take his shoes off. Like he, intuitively kids can pick up on so much, and that's one of the things, right? So yeah, try to get yourself into nature and go, walk barefoot, okay, whenever you can. Also, of course, cars, right? By using cars, right? We don't get as much exercise as we should, right? We don't get as much cardio. Cardio is great for your cardiovascular system. It's good for your heart, right? It's great for even keeping you happy, right? It gets those endorphins flowing, right? So when you're always in your car, you're missing out on those benefits, right? So you might feel more depressed and more miserable as a result. And on top of it all, right? Cars, right, and vehicles in general, right? In Europe, right, they account for 61 of total CO2 emissions, okay? So that's in Europe, I don't know the US number, but that's really crazy, But of course, I know that corporations are also to blame for CO2 emissions, right? So if they want to do something about it, rather than just pay a little fine and try and get away with it, then perhaps they should be the ones to really start, uh, actually taking accountability, for that, right? So yeah, guys. Anyways, and of course, there's the social media, right? Social media connects us. We're more connected, right? But at the same time, we're entirely disconnected, almost entirely, right? Social media, it's fake connections. It makes you feel like you are connected, right? But at the same time, you're not really getting the benefits of real friendships, right? Anything that's unnatural in the fake world is social media depletes your natural energy, right? And it takes away from your ability to build a great life for yourself, okay? A real life, a life that you can, really enjoy, right? So social media, like, guys, look, even YouTube, okay? I'm really guilty with that myself, okay? But even YouTube, just, it takes away a lot of my time, right? And I'm really addicted to. Be careful with social media. It's extremely distracting, especially YouTube, for a lot of us. I know we're learning, right? But at the same time, you have to remember that you have an actual and real life. Do you want to be spending your life watching YouTube videos the entire day, or do you actually want to be building a great life for yourself? Of course, I would like for you guys to watch my YouTube videos, right? But at the same time, I don't want to take too much of your time, okay? So go ahead, use that energy, go and build something amazing for yourself, create something. You're much, much better off this way. That's where your real life, resides, okay? It's outside, it's not inside the internet, okay? One more other thing that I'm going to add, right, is that, these apps are popular for a reason, right? It's because people need connections, right? We actually need real life connections, though, not the fake ones, right, on the internet. And of course, we can utilize these apps, right? And we can make it work for us, right? So they're at the same, just remember that they're tools, guys, right? They're tools to be used. We shouldn't become the tools, okay? We're not the tools, remember, they are, okay? So we should be using them as tools, okay, to better our lives, okay, and not the other way around, right? Unfortunately, oh my god, this disbalance has been pretty significant, right? And most people are being used by technology rather than the other way around, right? So we need to flip this, okay, and find this balance again. Okay, I'm also going to talk about TikTok, right? TikTok is amazing, right? In a lot of ways too, right? People kind of they end up emotionally or trauma dumping, right, on TikTok, and this can kind of, I guess, I suppose, heal them too, right? It can help them. But at the same time, you also have to remember, right, that whatever you throw out there online, it stays down there, right? And so be careful with what you put out, right? Because you never know who is going to see this information, right, later on. So be careful. What TikTok is showing us is that, we all want to express ourselves, okay? We want to express ourselves as the collective human consciousness that we are, right? We're here to create, we're here to express ourselves, we're here to jump, we're here to dance. Why the hell do we need TikTok for that? Okay, why the hell do we need a platform for that, especially for that? Why can't we just be like African Americans, you know, where they just like go like, yeah, you know, like that's what I like about the culture is that, you know, they're so expressive, they've got that soul, right? So you can see them like when I was in San Francisco or in America, right? They would dance like on the street, they wouldn't even care about who's watching, you know, and I would just like look in their direction and I would laugh, and it would make me feel better, guys, you know. So wouldn't it be awesome if we could all do that? You know, we could like dance and express ourselves, and we didn't need to just do it solely to get more likes or more, I don't know, whatever, right? I mean, just imagine a world where everybody's dancing, everybody's jumping around and like doing their own thing and just acting really goofy and silly, right? Of course, you need a lot of self-confidence for that. You have to be confident, and you have to not give a fuck, right, what everyone else thinks of you, right, which of course takes a lot, right? But I think with a lot of work we can all get there, you know, and we wouldn't need TikTok to express ourselves the way we really want to, right? Those are like merely outlets. I guess this fake technology, right, or technology, is showing us what we really want, what we want to do, what we came here to do, right? So yeah, anyways, guys, really it's all about, you know, finding that balance, you know, between technology, right, and using all of these things that I mentioned, right, and perhaps steering away more away from some of them, and, you know, perhaps utilizing them and being really careful with how we use them, okay? Peace out, guys.